Today's episode with my friend Chandler Zaugg discusses some difficult times he went through and mentions the death of his father by suicide. There are no graphic details, but we do feel it important to let you know so that you can make that decision for yourself. We want our audience to be aware and make those choices. Also, if you or someone you know is struggling with anything mentally or things like that, please reach out. You can call 988, visit the Promise to Live website, or if you're in Utah, the Safe UT app. Please know you are loved. And now on with the episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome to Roundy's Rants, Raves, and Reviews. We're here with Chandler Zaugg, an author friend of mine and an incredible human being. Chandler, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I will. So I'm Chandler Zaugg. I'm from Ogden, Utah, and I am a newly published author. A little while ago, I published my first book, a little fantasy short story called Into the Rest. This is it right here. My sister is an incredible artist. She did this beautiful cover art right
Oh,
here.
I didn't know she had done that.
Yeah, isn't that
Oh,
amazing?
so
Yeah.
beautiful. So
And
beautiful.
the rest of this beautiful fonts and imagery comes from the wonderful people that Tanya and I are associated with in the Also Ready program that's led by Richard Paul Evans. We're both incredibly grateful to be a part of that. And it's through that organization that we were able to meet. So it's really amazing.
I love Author Ready. It's been so incredible to meet so many amazing individuals and to be mentored by Richard. And yeah, it's been awesome. Well, tell me a little bit then about what your journey was with writing, since we're talking about that a little bit. What was your journey for writing this and what got you started and going with this?
Yeah, well, 5 years ago, it was 2020, right? So there was a lot going on for everyone with COVID-19 and all the tragedy that was happening there. And I had a tragedy of my own around that time. My dad took his life about a month after the pandemic hit, and it wasn't even due to the pandemic. He was just unwell. He
Mhm,
had had some long-standing struggles with addiction and just wasn't feeling that great in general. So he ended his life on Easter weekend of 2020. And that was rough. That was really rough. I didn't know that he was that unhappy. I knew that he wasn't feeling great, but I
mhm,
didn't know that he would go to such lengths to achieve peace, to just end his misery.
mhm,
So I was processing that. At the same time, I was newly married to a young lady who had cerebral palsy,
mhm,
and so do I. Mine is more mild case, and I walk with crutches, but hers was more severe. She was wheelchair bound, and so there was very little that she could do on her own. And in that way, she just felt really insecure about a lot of things in life and was really quite self absorbed and self centered and really wanted to be in control of me because she felt good with me around and um just and she didn't feel that great inside either, just as a whole. So all that was going down. My dad passed away about 6 weeks after he shot himself. And then a year later I was going about my married life, and that didn't prove to get any better,
mhm,
honestly. With the pandemic hitting, a lot of the young women that were working for my wife, they ended up quitting and kind of moving on.
mhm,
And it was kind of down to me to do a lot of her physical caregiving. I was helping her go to the bathroom throughout the day and in the middle of the night in a bedpan and just lifting her from her chair and onto her bed and that kind of thing. Just doing all those things that would be required for a severely disabled person. And I was very willing to do it because I loved her
mhm,
and I believed in her and I wanted to just see how things would turn out. I wanted to hope that things were getting better, but they
Okay.
just didn't.
Mm.
And in the midst of that, what with my dad dying and with my marriage being really difficult, I was just in a lot of pain, and I longed for relief in some kind of way, even if it was simple or small. So a year later, in 2021, I was in my last semester of college at Utah State University. And Tanya, I believe you'll appreciate that because you earned your bachelor's there, right?
I got my
Your,
master's from USU. Yeah.
your master's, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I loved that school. It was amazing. But like with the pandemic hitting, everything had been moved online by
Mhm.
then. And I, in my last semester, I happened to be taking this intro to folklore class.
Mhm.
And at one point, it asked me to write my own fairy tale. And I was so excited because I felt inclined to write my own stories since I was young. I
Yeah.
basically wrote my first story when I was 8, and I started so many more, so many fantasy or science fiction stories that I never finished.
Mhm.
But then along comes this assignment, and I'm like, wow, how exciting is this? This gives me an opportunity to create another story after all
Mhm.
this time. So I was thrilled, and I started to brainstorm a little bit. But all of a sudden, from deep inside me, this much gentler, peaceful story started to rise up inside me about a young girl named Amelia whose dad passed away during a plague, and who a few years later hears about this heavenly location called the Rest, Rest. It's
Mhm.
basically like a patch of heaven that people who have passed away can go visit before they go to heaven, or that people can just go visit if they so desire. So Amelia hears about this place from her mom, and she's like, oh my goodness, this sounds amazing. I want to go as soon as I can. So she decides to go with her younger brother Tuco and her good friend Daphne, and they embark on their journey. And along the way, they meet two trolls and two dragons that are both powerful but very different, and then two angels that are guarding the rest. But in the middle of that, Amelia has an incredible experience that helps her understand that in order to visit the rest, she needs to really connect with who she is, how valuable she is, how loved she is. And that really is the crux of the story. Like, as much as the rest is an actual location that's visited at the end of the book, what really captures the message of it is that, that truth that you're loved, that you're valuable, and that you have a place. Even if you might just feel like one person in this great big world of ours, you're valuable. You have a place to take, and you have something amazing to do while you're here on this earth. And it's through this truth and through this knowledge that Amelia is able to enter the rest, and she's able to visit with her dad when she's in there.
Wow, that's powerful. Such a powerful message, especially right now. Knowing that, how did that help you through what you were going through? Did it help you to grieve and to go through that and discover within yourself things?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It gave me a lot of healing over the loss of my dad, helped me feel his love. I felt him very close to me while I was writing the book. And even though he and I had a complicated history, it even helped to write the story of a girl whose dad was just amazing and who was just very good and loved her so much. And and it gave me peace in my marriage, even though it needed to end a year later. It just ended suddenly. And from what I was mentioning, you could tell it was unsustainable anyway. So I did end up getting a divorce a few years ago. But even then, I was able to find peace and healing, just this really foundational assurance that everything was going to be okay, no matter how things came to be. So it gave me a lot of healing in that time.
It's incredible what the Lord sends us when we need it and we don't even know we need it yet.
Yeah.
Right? To send you to a class where you got to write something and then to discover what and through that writing process and find that is so powerful and such a beautiful things of that. You said that you had been writing since you were young and stuff. Were there people or inspirational teachers or people who helped you along the way, or is it just something that you already love to do?
I think in lots of ways it came as a natural talent. I always have had this proclivity to kind of lean on stories and take them in and just really cling to what the telling of a story is and be interested in it. But one of my most amazing role models in my life is my mom. She has taught me everything I know and has taught me amazing things about how to love, how to draw near to light, how to ask for help. And she really was my teacher as well. I did homeschooling as I was growing up and in my high school years, so I'm a GED graduate. And I really am so grateful for everything that she taught me. I just am so grateful for all that I've been able to learn because of her, and so much of what I have learned has gone into my book, into this little book right here. And again, it's a short story. You may be able to just read it in one read, which I'm kind of happy about at any rate. But, but yeah, it's not super widespread just yet. But if you would like to check it out, you can definitely contact me through my website. You can just search chandlerzaugg.com. That's all lowercase. And then, if you're ever in Ogden, Utah, you can go to Atlas Tea Company. It's a shop that my family and I owned it last year. That we've was kind of kept running since November. But I'm selling my book there too, so you can find it there as well.
I love that you've found just this natural gift and talent. Did it ever a time go away? Did you go away from writing and not do as much writing? Or is that something that you've consistently done up through the years?
Well, let me see. I mean, life got busy once I needed to conclude my studies as a teenager, and then I went on my church mission and that kind of thing. But even then, I was emailing, and a lot of writing went into that. And my mission was more unique. It was all online. I served at the Provo MCC just for the
Uh-huh.
full 2 years as an online missionary. So I did a lot of typing to the people that came through the Mormon.org chats. And so I ended up writing a lot of what I needed to say to people. And I'd even get comments from the people who were working with me, like, you explain things really well, or you write that really well. But then once I got started at Utah State, I was in this English 1010 class, and I had a lot of writing assignments there. And it
Yeah.
was really in that class and through the example of my young professor there that I really was able to rekindle my love for writing. I feel like in that class, I was able to remember how much I loved to write.
Mhm.
And I never really looked back. As a religious studies major, I had to write a lot of papers about history or about philosophy and that kind of thing. So a lot of writing came into my studies as well. And then there ended up then that story came that ended up changing my life forever.
I'm glad it changed your life forever because I wouldn't get to know you and experience this friendship and stuff without that. It's so amazing. Are
Yeah.
there authors you liked to read growing up? Because we all like, often they say that a lot of good writers are also good readers, or that there's the influence from certain types of books and stuff that inspire us. What were yours?
Yeah. Well, let me think. I think a series that really kindled my love for fantasy early on was the Magic Treehouse books by
Hmm.
Mary Pope Osborne. I thought those were amazing. And I thought I gained a lot of early historical knowledge because of those books. And I feel a lot of gratitude for that. I feel like that sparked a lot of interest into my love for history as well. And but as the years went on, I also did get into Harry Potter. There are probably a lot of Harry Potter fans out there listening that will listen to this. And I ended up reading those out loud to my mom and to my sister in our free time. So I ended up doing all the voices, doing all the particular voices for each character, and that was a ton of fun. But I also got into J.R.R. Tolkien's work when I was in my teens. I got into The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and I grew to love those books dearly. I mean, my dad and I did a Lord of the Rings movie marathon before I read the books, and that was a lot of fun. But I think reading the books helped enrich my love for the story quite a bit. And honestly, I feel like Tolkien has influenced my writing the most. I feel like I can relate to his style of writing in what I write and what I like to write and how I feel I should write it. It's kind of this steady pace that might have rich description of nature or of characters or just that general aura of fantasy that we so generally associate and love about Tolkien and his work.
Absolutely. I am a fan of Tolkien. It's so hard sometimes because people are like, oh, but it's so big. I'm like, yes, but it's all there. And it's just so
Yeah,
beautifully written. And
yeah, it's also beautifully written.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the power of his words and the messages that he has in there that um you mentioned Harry Potter, and I'm gonna do this because your mom reminded, and I remembered from what your mom said, you do voices and you do
Mhm.
some incredible voices. Would you like to share a few of your favorites with us, some of your voices that you like to do?
Of course. So here's Harry. I'm going to tell you something that others have only guessed at. I am the chosen one. Only I can destroy him, but in order to do so, I need to know what you told him. And then here's Ron. Come on, Hermione, you're not seriously going to tell everyone about SPW, are you? And then Hermione, of course, gotta have her. Honestly, is anyone else going to read Hogwarts history? Mm. And then a few others, of course, is Snape, because Alan Rickman had such a distinctive voice.
I love him.
You
Yeah.
just bought yourself a month's detention, McLagan. Not so quick, Potter.
Oh, you're so good at that. Ah, I love that one. Yes.
And then I have my Voldemort voice as well. I have seen your heart, and it is mine. And then maybe I'll do one more. Here's Dobby. Dobby is most aggrieved, sir. Dobby had eye in his hands.
I love it. Oh my gosh, I can just picture and I want you to like record just anything with those voices. It's so much fun. Are you going to do an audiobook of yours doing voices and things?
Oh, yeah, that is totally the plan.
Good.
Yeah, so one day there will be an audio version of Into the Rust. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
It's totally
yeah.
doable. I proved that it can be done. I just didn't do any voices. I usually do voices when I read out loud to my students too, but this one I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
just reading it. I'm just reading it. Because if I tried to do voices, I know I would just. So I just read it. But yeah, the viewers, I'm
Um,
like, we need voices for yours.
yeah. Oh, I would love to hear you do that one day too.
It'll be.
I don't know.
We'll do a thing together. We should do a thing together one day.
Yeah, that would be super fun.
That would be super fun. So
Mm.
you what is a common message? I mean, you've got your one book. Are there common messages and themes when you look back at all of your stories that you've written or partially written over the years? Are there common themes and ideas that you see coming through that you want to share with people or that you want people to understand?
Mm. Well, really, as a huge fantasy and science fiction fan, I do want to tie in as many of those whimsical elements as I can in my writing and create memorable characters with interesting personalities. But I really want to help my readers feel heaven, just feel light, feel loved. And I can see how elements of that were drawn into some of my previous works that I never completed. But Into the Rest is the real deal. Like in Into the Rest, I really am keen to impress that kind of message upon people. And it really doesn't matter what kind of faith or background you come from. I just hope that when my readers read my work, they'll feel loved, they'll feel at peace, and they'll just feel enriched.
Love it. Are any of your other stories that you've pre-written before, are they going to make a comeback and get finished? Are there
I'm not
more?
entirely
Okay.
sure about that, but I am really excited because a little bit after I wrote Into the Rest, I realized there was more I could build off of it. Like, wow, I could actually build a whole fantasy world off of this.
Mhm.
Like, even though Into the Rest is just fine on its own, it definitely can be. Pretty soon, I felt like it could be part of a greater whole. So, along with that, after a lot of careful prayer and inspiration, I've felt inspired to create a series called The 10 Tales of Light. And yeah, so it'll end up being a 10-book series, with Into the Rest being the first book. And I'm working on book 2 right now.
Yay! Love it. I wasn't supposed to, I didn't think I was going to be writing a sequel to mine either. And then all of a sudden, when I was just about to finish it, I'm up at the ranch and all of a sudden, and here's the next one. I'm like, wait, what? No,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so yeah. And then now that I'm almost done with this one, even though I have to still, I'm going to still get it edited and put out there and everything else, waiting for money and stuff. All of a sudden, the third one's coming, and I'm like, okay, I can't write more books that I have money for right now. So, uh, but I get it. It's like all of a sudden you just think you've done this one thing, and then it is all of a sudden you go, okay, now this is where the rest of the world can come to. And I love that it's you're on those 10 points of light. Do they have anything to do with Vinny's book, or is it your own 10 points of light? Where are these coming from?
Yeah, really, they're going to be of my own creation in the
Mhm.
end. So there will be 3 short stories and 7 novels. And this next one is a novel. So it's going to be quite a bit longer than Into the Rest. But there are very clear ties to it. Like
Mhm.
there's some remarks about dragons and Into the Rest that will just kind of lead into the next one. And since I was a religious studies major at Utah State, there are going to be pretty profound religious elements throughout the series as well. And they'll just be reflected a bit differently here and there. Like they may feel Christian or Jewish or Islamic or Buddhist or Taoist. It'll just kind of feel similar to what fairies and elves and dwarves believe in. And that's all yet to come in the years to follow. So,
Wow.
yeah, wish me luck. I'm very excited to see how it all turns out.
I am so excited to see how it comes together. I did, even though I wasn't a religious studies major, I took religious literature classes.
Oh,
And so
wow.
as part of my literature degree, at UVU and at SUU and stuff. And I loved doing the comparative literature and seeing the similarities and the differences and how we can appreciate those things and come together. And so much of fantasy, I find, actually has a lot of good roots in a lot
Mm,
of religious foundations. I mean, you look at Tolkien, very religious in his things
yeah.
that way, and historically written to base on things. Even, I mean, you look at most fantasies, Sanderson and those guys, there's always a
Mm,
good religious element underneath it that kind of drives that force and the messaging. And so I think it's incredible what you're going to do. It's going to be exciting and
yeah,
fun.
absolutely. And really, if you think about it, all religions begin with a story, with a founder with basic beliefs that are just kind of drawn together. And a lot of them can be through stories, like
Mhm.
how Moses led the Israelites to Mount Sinai, and some people mark that as the beginning of Judaism, and how Muhammad was visited by the angel Gabriel and how that started inspiration for the Quran and that kind of thing. It's just really amazing. All of us are very drawn to tell stories, and I find it absolutely incredible how they can be tied into belief, all the forms of worship or belief that guide our ways of living today.
Absolutely. I that's something I teach my students is that all of our stories we're writing every day. Our stories have written up who we are at this moment, that every choice we make, every moment we're living is writing the next chapter and writing those things. And what do we want that to be written as? And I love that idea that everything of our world has started with stories. And yours started with and in
Into
your
the
first as well
rest.
into the rest
Yeah.
exactly and your journey. But I think it started before that because it started with those other stories and the story of you and your life that you have lived that then gave birth to this that fed into this and created that life that's in that story and stuff too. So your story is also important and part of there as well. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's very true. Thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome. Um, Thank you for so much for being here with us. Where can they find you again? Where can they follow you? Where can they get involved with what you're doing?
Yeah, so again, look up my website, chandlerzaugg.com, Chandler, Zaugg. It's a Swiss German last name, so that's kind of cool. But
Yes.
yeah, there you'll be able to read more about Into the Rust. And if you want to, you can just send in a request to me, and I'd be happy to mail a copy to you if you want one. And then again, if you're ever in Ogden, stop by Atlas Tea Company, ATLAS Tea Company. It's named after like the world map, of course, and also the Greek Titan.
It's
So
named after a story.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
Atlas um is really meant to promote mental health in the community. Since my mom is a mental health therapist and we had our family tragedy, it's felt really important for us to found it. And along the way, it features all these different things from around the world, which is super exciting.
That
Yeah,
is fun.
a really neat way for people to be drawn together and share their story and feel more at peace. So really, the message of Into the Rust is very synonymous with the message of our shop, and I'm really happy about that as well. But yeah, you can find Into the Rust there as well, and so yeah,
Do you
and
have
there will
any
be
author
more
pages?
off your pages. Oh
Like, do you
yes,
follow you on like any social media and stuff?
yeah, on social media you can find me at author Chandler Zaugg on Facebook, as well as the same name, lowercase, on Instagram. So feel free to follow me. I would love it.
Love that journey. Any last words of wisdom? Anything you want to say last before we sign off today, Chandler?
Mm. Well, really, if you feel inspired to write a story, please do it. It's coming from deep inside you, and honestly, it might be coming at just the right time. You know, I'm thinking now of a quote by Robert Greene, who wrote the 48 Laws of Power. I have yet to read that book, but I saw a reel of him talking about it, and he said, if I had been given the assignment to write the book 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to pull it off. I needed to have a lot of difficult experiences in order to write it. And not that your experiences always have to be difficult per se, but just experience, be it difficult or even meaningful, can really lead into a story that you may be prompted to tell. And really, if you feel inspired to write it, don't shy away from it. It's meant to be out there, it's meant to be told for a reason. Just like how the message of Into the Rust is about taking your proper place and feeling your worth. Your story has value too. And Tonya has put that beautifully as well. And there could be this beautiful story inside you that's just waiting to be told. So be real. Don't be afraid to share your truth and just let it come forth at whatever time it needs to. And it may even take you by surprise. And so the rest has taken me by surprise in the most incredible way. And I really am so grateful for where it's taking me now. So good luck. If you want to write or feel like you should, please do it. There's a story that you have to tell.
Either for you or for others or both. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Chandler. I am so honored to know you and have had you on, and I really appreciate your message tonight. Everyone, you should go out and follow him, get his book, and share your light with others. See us next week on Roundy's Rants, Raves, and Reviews. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Tonya. It's been an honor.
You have a wonderful night, Chandler.
You too.
Thanks.